I never thought I would be making a video like this, but last month I caught Lyme disease. So what is Lyme disease? So Lyme disease is caused by the bacterium Borrelia burgdorferi. I hope I pronounced it right. And rarely Borrelia mayoni. Now the disease is transmitted through a bite of an infected black-legged tick. Now typical symptoms include fever, headaches, fatigue, and a rash called erythema migrans. Now if left untreated, the infection can spread to the joints, the heart, and the nervous system. Lyme disease is diagnosed based on symptoms, physical findings, and a possibility of exposure to infected ticks, which is my case. Now according to this, most cases of Lyme disease can be treated successfully with a few weeks of antibiotics. Some of the steps to prevent Lyme disease include using insect repellent, removing ticks promptly, applying pesticides, and reducing tick habitat. The ticks that transmit Lyme disease can occasionally transmit other tick-borne diseases as well. So when did I get Lyme disease? I got it, I believe it was the second week of July, and I never felt it. It takes about 3 to 7 days after you're bitten for you to notice any symptoms. And I started noticing symptoms on Saturday, July the 15th. And on that day, I remember being very fatigued, very tired. I didn't want to do anything that day. I noticed weakness and I didn't think anything of it. And I just went about the homestead doing my chores as I always do. Now, I did not sleep well starting Saturday night. I didn't sleep well for a whole week. And on Sunday, the 16th, it got even worse. On that day, I felt more fatigue, lots of pain throughout my body. And I remember taking a nap sometime around noon, and I normally don't take naps. I haven't taken a nap in more than a decade. That was unusual. But even after taking a nap, I still felt horrible. And yes, I had joint pains and I couldn't think straight. I would move around the house to do something, a chore or something, or even the kitchen. And when I get there, I forget what I was there for. Now on this day, I started taking a leave, and I thought it would go away after a day or two, but it didn't. Especially on Sunday, I did nothing. I was too tired, too fatigued, and I just spent it mostly inside the house. I only came outside to feed the chickens, the baby chicks I have in the garage, and the chickens that I have outside. I made sure that they had water, they had feed, but besides that, I didn't do anything else. So mostly, I just hung out in the living room, watching TV. And it was more of the same the next day. I took a leave in the morning and another one at night. And I lost my appetite and I lost a few pounds. Now, that is the only good thing about all of this. And on the third day, Monday, I took a turn for the worst. Around 4 to 5 p.m., I started getting chills, and I had to go upstairs and put on a long sleeve shirt, thick sock, and my temperature started going up to 103 that day. And I can't remember ever having a fever. Now for the next several days, I could not sleep, obviously, and I remember tossing and turning most of the night and sweating a lot. And usually by the morning, the fever will be gone. I will still be weak and no motivation. And again, every single day, sometime between 4 and 5, I will get the chills and the fever will go up. I believe Tuesday went up as high as 104, and still I was thinking that probably this thing will go away. Now on Tuesday, I dropped the leaves and I started taking aspirins, hoping that I may get better results, but didn't happen. Now on Tuesday, I had a video meeting with my friend Paul from Pennsylvania, and I could hold a conversation and everything seemed okay. Yes, I had most of the symptoms, but later that afternoon, around 4 or 5, bam, the chills will come on and again the fever will go sky high. Now on the 5th day, which was Wednesday, all the symptoms are there. Up to that point, I only had a red rash here on my arm, and I didn't think anything of it. It looked like a wasp or a bee had bitten me, but I just never felt anything. And I'm going to put a picture here on the screen. So this is what it looked like from Saturday till Wednesday morning. It's just a rash. It's red, no pain. I didn't feel anything whatsoever. But I noticed that on Wednesday morning it grew a little bit. But then by Wednesday night, it really expanded and it grew to a target-like appearance, or a bullseye. And here's a picture of that on my actual arm. I don't know if you can tell, but there is a rash in the middle, and there's a circle outside of that. And that's when I knew, because I seen pictures online. I did research Lyme disease many days ago, and that's why I didn't think anything of it the first 4 or 5 days. I didn't see that bullseye or target, and I thought it was just something else. But once I saw that target or bullseye, then I knew, definitely Lyme disease. So what I did the very next morning, I went to an urgent care at a town nearby. So at the urgent care, they looked at my symptoms and they did a physical inspection, and yes, they confirmed that I had Lyme disease. So how did I get the Lyme disease? First, I never felt the tick bite, and they are tiny. And I'm going to show you a picture here on the screen. So this is a black-legged tick. The adult tick is about the size of a sesame seed, and the nymphal tick is even tinier, about the size of a poppy seed, and those are riskier because they are harder to spot. The tick must be attached to your skin for a certain period of time to pass along the infection, and that's about 36 to 48 hours. So deer often carry the infected ticks, and I have a bunch of deer around here. I see them every other day. Sometimes they're behind the garden, 6 of them, and sometimes I do see them in the front of my property, and they go all the way around. The black-legged ticks that carry Lyme disease, they're all over my property. Yeah, who would have thunk it, right? A few years ago I was in the military, and now here I am in upstate New York in a homestead, which I love, by the way, and I got bitten by a tick that gave me Lyme disease. Who would have thunk it, right? I never in 1,000 years would have thought that this would happen to me. So what is the treatment? And I have to point out that after they did my physical exam and determined that I had Lyme disease, there is also a blood test for Lyme disease, but in my case it wasn't necessary because it was very obvious. Now they prescribed this antibiotic called doxycycline, 100 milligram. This is something that you take twice a day, once in the morning, at least an hour before breakfast and an hour before dinner. But if you have dinner and you forget to take the pill, then you have to wait 2 hours after to take this pill. It has to be in an empty stomach. You take 2 pills a day for 10 days. And after the 2nd or 3rd pill, believe me, I started feeling a lot better. And after the 2nd or 3rd day, I was feeling normal. But make sure that if you ever get it, to take every single pill, all 10 days. And obviously if they catch it early, if they catch Lyme disease early, there is a chance that you'll never get any symptoms ever again. But some people do have, will get symptoms again. Okay, so I'm going to read to you the symptoms. This is something that the urgent care handed me. And so here we go. Okay. You'll know you have Lyme disease when you get chills and fever. You get headaches, but in my case, that's the only thing I didn't get. I did not get any headaches, and that's because I was taking Aleve and aspirin at least twice a day. Fatigue, I definitely had fatigue, general achiness, yes, muscle pain, joint pain, and a round red rash, which you saw in the previous couple of pictures. So how to prevent it in the future? So before we get into that, this is where I believe I got bitten by a tick. I was clearing a path for my grandchildren so they can ride their mini bikes. Ironically, I was trying to clear all I could so that grandchildren will not be bitten by a tick, and I ended up getting bitten. So how am I gonna prevent it? Well, from now on, I will always wear a long sleeve shirt, long pants, and boots. Here I am wearing my combat boots, but any boots will do. Then I will use a tick repellent spray all over my clothes. My wife is spraying my back, which I cannot obviously reach. Also, if you have it, just wear some gloves and a hat. Now, to be clear, I only intend to do this when I'm working in the woods. If I'm working in the garden or with the chickens, I will not do this. Now, according to my neighbor, who is a retired nurse, she got Lyme disease in 2014. She tells me that I will always have it. If I'm tested for it, it'll always show positive. And she also said not to be surprised if in a few months I get the symptoms again, and there's really nothing that I can do about it but just go visit my doctor again and get another round of antibiotics. And I can only hope that I do not get the chronic version of Lyme disease, because some people do get the symptoms over and over again for extended periods of time. But I don't know how any of this will turn out. Only time will tell, and I will hope for the best. Now, a few days ago, I was telling a friend by the name of Alan Dix, also a retired Navy chief, that even if I get bitten 10 more times, I do intend to work outside as much as I can in the woods. I can't let the ticks win. I will take the necessary precautions to avoid any more tick bites. Now below, I'm gonna link a guide from the state of New York about how to prevent Lyme disease. So, what will I do today?
Catch me outside, how about that?
Huh?
Catch me outside, how about that?
Catch you outside? What does that mean?
What I just said.
Today.